No, but seriously, the way I look at what we do with the mortgage industry or real estate industry is just like playing Monopoly. I look at it just like playing Monopoly, the board game. You gotta understand the rules of the game. You have to. If you don't understand the rules of the game, you would never win. You cannot beat anyone playing Monopoly if you only have 2 or 3 properties. It could happen, but the chances of it happening is slim to none. The way I look at that is you have a lower credit scores, you have high debt ratios, no money saved. You cannot beat the game of Monopoly by having the bare minimum. So by understanding the rules of the game, knowing what you have to put in place in a certain order, because timing is everything, you can win. The likelihood of you winning is a lot higher. All right, welcome back to the Mortgage Motivation Podcast. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I know I did. Shouts out to the Birds, to my Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champs for 2024. Let's go. We went out to the parade this weekend, man, and I'm telling you, it's, whew, oh my God. Just had a great time. I just been living life. I should have worn my green today. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and just dress regular. And, come to the office and just give you guys some game here. So, with that being said, I'm in championship mode right now. So just go in and forgive me. But over the weekend, I thought of, what can I bring to the podcast this week? This time I'm rolling solo. I don't have a host on this particular week. But there's certain things that I wanted to convey to you guys as clients, as prospects, or people that just watching YouTube and trying to get a level of understanding of what we do and how it works. So today I want to talk about this game of real estate. And just like to me, just like playing Monopoly, that's what the game is based upon. But it's in real life. And I think sometimes when we're on social media platforms or on the internet or just speaking to a lot of our friends and family, we don't truly understand the real rules. What are truly the rules to this game? And I want to make sure that all the misconceptions are being eliminated. And I'm gonna always speak about that here on my podcast, and that's the reason why I started the podcast anyway. I wanted to eliminate all the misconceptions and letting everyone know that anyone can do this. It doesn't require someone that's extremely wealthy to get in real estate. It doesn't require someone to purchase a property to have tons of cash. It just, you have to understand certain foundations of what we do in order for this to work. My job as a mortgage broker, I'm not here as a salesperson that's going to just sell you on anything and just say, yeah, you can have low credit scores, you don't need money. That's not reality. And I think that I owe you guys a level of professionalism, to be honest with you, right from the beginning. So I'm not here just to say things just to make you feel good. I'm not here to just rah. I know the name of the podcast is motivation, but I'm not here just to motivate you. I want to give you something that truly works, something that I see that works for a lot of my clients, something where if you wanted to purchase a property or an investment property or anything, it could be a car or any type of loan. What you do here, this should transfer over to all of those different types of loans. So, and that's the reason why I do it the way I do it. So, like I said, I thought about it over the weekend. What can I bring to you guys that's going to really help out? And there's a few things that I see all the time that I want to eliminate altogether. So, like I said, this is the foundation of financial freedom. I want to give you the foundation of financial freedom. Purchasing real estate should not be difficult. I don't care what type of loan that you buy. What type of loan that you go with or what type of real estate that you buy, it should not be difficult. So there's a few things that I see quite a bit that I wanted to talk about today. So the first thing I want to go over is that feel out here on social media where you can have low credit scores and you can purchase property. Is that true? Yes, that is a true statement. There are situations where you can have low credit scores. But I would say right from the beginning, that is not the best mindset to start this transaction off with. If you are looking for property and you're okay with having low credit scores, that's not the rules of the game. You don't want to do that. Nowhere around it. You want to arm yourself with the highest credit scores that you can have. And if you're looking to purchase property and your credit score is in the 500s and the 400s, you, my friend, should not be looking at real estate. You need to work on your credit. You need to build your credit report. And there's a few different ways of doing that. And I have a couple of YouTube videos that talk a lot in detail about credit. Credit is extremely important. So don't think that you could just, jump in and start buying real estate with low credit scores. You can, but to me, you're making life a lot more difficult than it needs to be. So technically, to answer your question, yes, you can purchase real estate with low credit scores, but that's not the way of doing it. To me, you should reach for the higher credit scores. And the reason why I say that is because when you go through underwriting and they see the low credit scores, usually that means you're going to pay a higher rate. So why would you want to pay a higher rate? My thing is, okay, if you know you have low credit scores, what can we do to increase your scores? What can we do to rehab your credit report? We have to work on your credit. So if you know your credit scores are like 560, 570, yeah, there are lending institutions that's going to give you a loan, but your rate is going to be higher. So why even go that route? You could wait a few weeks, a few months to work on the credit. So my first stage with that, if you do have bad credit, is okay. Yeah, you can go credit repair. No way around that. That's Credit repair has its place, and I would say uh, on the front part of it, yeah, go ahead and do the credit repair if that's what you feel as though you need to do. But you don't always have to go credit repair to go with higher scores. I would say credit repair is just a temporary fix, and I'm not. Well, don't care if you agree with me or not. This is my podcast. I believe that credit repair is just a temporary fix. I believe in it. You have to understand how you got there in the first place. I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. How did you get bad credit in the first place? That's what you have to uncover. Start there. Okay. You can do credit repair, but once that is done, okay, was it late pays? Was it that you had a couple of repos? Was it that you have a lot of collections? Okay, do you have judgments? Once you identify what the issue is, you have to avoid going that route again, because having good credit is not it's not hard. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is there's no magic to it. There's really not. If you get a credit line, pay it on time, keep your balances low, and never be late. Period. But you have to have that mindset where I cannot be late on paying my bills. Once you have that mindset that you'll never be late, then that all by itself should fix your issues, or at least part of it. Understanding what credit utilization is. And all that means is how much of a credit limit or your balances I'm putting on my credit limit. So, for an example, if my credit limit is at $5,000 and I max it out, that's not good. That's going to drop your scores. Even if you had it at 1,500, yeah, it is not as bad, but that can still lower your scores. You want to keep and everyone's going to say something different, but between 10 to 20% of your max credit limit, no higher than that. You got to pay your balances down. So that means that you have enough cash flow that's coming in to pay your bills. So you never should be at a point where it's not maxing at your credit limit. And, I paid it on time. By you having a higher balance on on that credit limit, that's going to lower your scores because you looked upon as a high risk. So keeping your balances low, never being late on your credit. And you don't need 7, 8 different credit lines, like 5 different credit cards. You simply don't need that. If you had maybe 3 or 4 credit trade lines, that's all you need. So if you had a mixture of, like, say you had a car, most people have a car loan. If you have maybe 2 or 3, well, I'll say a car loan, maybe 2 credit cards, and maybe like a personal line of credit. That's all you really need. And as long as you pay it on time and you're never late, you should be good. So enough about that. I don't want to spend a lot of time with credit because credit comes up all the time. But you want to shoot for I want to say at least a 660. And here's the method to my madness. And this is dealing with mortgages. Most programs you will qualify with a 660 across the board. Doesn't matter if it's VA, FHA, USDA, conventional. If you need a first-time home buyer program, there are a lot of times credit minimum requirements. So if you hit a 660, typically you're not going to have any issues there. And if you do have low credit scores, either you won't qualify for a first-time home buyer program, or sometimes you may have to take a first-time home buyer class because they see you as a high risk. So to avoid all of that, let's shoot for the higher credit scores. And if you know, okay, I'm going to buy a house in 6 months to a year, let's work on your credit. You can start with credit repair, but that's not the final answer. The final answer is understanding how did you get there in the first place. Then once you do that, and listen, I had bad credit at one point. I had low credit scores at one point. I'm very transparent on my podcast. I have really good credit now, but I had to do what I had to do in order for me to establish good credit. So you're not just speaking to someone just because I work in finance doesn't mean that my credit's always been really good. You have to, well, even for me to have this career, you can't have bad credit. Simple as that. But you want to establish good credit. So credit, 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 credit. A strong credit report, strong credit history, high scores is what you want. You do not want to start off with low credit scores because, once again, the lenders consider that as a high risk. You're going to pay higher interest rates, and you want to save your money. So that could be a difference between having a 5% interest rate versus having an 8 or 9% interest rate. You can use that money for other things, for other investments. You can use it for savings, for your assets. Let's do something that really matters with the credit and not spend it all on a mortgage payment. So you want to shoot for a 660 and above, preferably anything with a 7 on it is the way we want to go. All right. So that is credit. The second thing is not having money saved. No savings account. You want to save. You want to save. You want to learn how to budget your money. If you know that you're going to buy a house, save. I've seen situations where I see $200 or $300 in their account and someone wants to purchase a home. That's not a good look. That's not how you want to do it. I'm here to give you the rules of the game. You want to start saving money. And it's not just because of this transaction. It's because you should save money anyway. You should have a good amount of money in your account. So, Gary, what is a good amount? You should have at least 6 months of you paying all of your bills that you have coming into your household right now. At least 6 months saved. And that's the bare minimum. Some people call it an emergency fund. So if your car breaks down, your brakes go out, or something happened in the household and you need money, you want to have a savings account. But if you're buying real estate, you definitely want to have money saved because you have down payment, you have closing costs. You have down payment and you have closing costs. And there's a cost of doing business. You don't want to start the process off with no money in your account. First of all, in order for you to even give the real estate agent earnest money deposit, you want to at least have $1,000 for that. I've seen people, like I said, $200 or $300 in their account. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not good. That's not how you want to start this thing off. You need money for that. You need money for the home inspection. You need money for the home appraisal. That what I just named, you're talking about close to $3,000 all by itself, possibly close to it, right? And you don't want to come in with the bare minimum because the underwriter sees that too. If they see, okay, this person needs, low credit scores, no money in their account, you're bringing nothing to the table at all outside of you just saying you're a first-time home buyer, or you never, you never purchased a home before, or you purchased a home a couple of years ago and you want to buy a house again. But that's not a way you want to start off that relationship with that lender. Because remember, the lender is a stranger. The bank is a stranger to you. You want to show them a really good report card. That report card is you having really good credit, right? Above anything above a 660. You have assets, meaning that you save money, or you have a 401k. You have something where you could draw money from. Because when you present this in front of an underwriter, an investor, they want to look at your report card. Okay, how well do they take care of the credit? How much money do they have saved? What can they bring to the table? Because when you call, we like to say skin in the game. You want to have skin in the game, but once again, just look at it as a personal transaction. You met somebody for the first time, and all of your cousins, all your friends, all your family members said, "Hey, this person never pays their bills on time." So they never pay anyone back anytime they borrow money, and they never have money on them. If they ever approach you to borrow money, what are you going to do? More than likely, you're not going to give them any money. The banks are the same exact way. I like to keep things very simple. I will look at it the same exact way. So when you approach a lender, you want to show them that report. Like, look, I'm good at paying my bills on time. I got money saved. My savings account, I have at least 10% of my savings account. I have a 401k. I have a couple of stocks. And I understand that everyone cannot have this. Well, that's not necessarily true. I think everyone can, but you have to strive and you have to understand how important that is. And it's not just because you want to use a mortgage or buy real estate. This is period. You should have level of assets. Assets are extremely important because once again, the lenders are looking at the risk factor. So they see that you have a pretty good credit, you have money saved. Yeah, you may qualify for a lot more. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you barely getting into the loan programs that they have because you're not bringing anything to the table. And so you want to do that. Ideally, you want to save at least 10%. I mean, minimum saving 10% of that purchase price. So you just multiply 10% times whatever purchase price you're looking to buy. So if you're buying a house at $100,000, then you want to have at least 10 grand saved. No one else is telling you this on social, but I'm shooting to you straight. You want to have money saved, and I'm not saying that you're going to use all of that, but it looks a lot better to the lender, and the chances of you getting approved for a loan or programs get be a lot higher when you have money saved and you have good credit. So you always want to think about these things before you try to bring your application in front of an underwriter. And if you speak to a loan officer or a broker that really cares, they're going to have these tough conversations with you. And this is not a bad thing. This is like giving you a heads up on this is what I need to do. Okay. And a lot has to do with your mindset. And I know a lot has to do with the way you're probably raised or your family didn't know, the people that you grew up around, they probably didn't get this information. But we have access to everything now with Google, Chat GPT. You have social media now that's giving you the rules of the game. You must understand how it works. And I'm telling you, it's going to make life a lot easier for you. So if you think about it like this, it's going to allow that transaction to run way smoother. There's been situations when I'm working with a client, I barely even talk to them because great credit scores, they have the assets, they have all that money saved in their accounts, they have 401k, they have stocks, all that is there. So when it goes through underwriting, it's a breeze. Nothing to talk to them about with the credit. There's nothing to go over with the bank statements. There's nothing to go over with all the assets that we see because it's all organized and it's ready to go. And this is what I want you guys to think about. It's 2025 and we got to do things differently. I don't care who the president is. I don't care who the governor is. I don't care who the mayor is. You all of those things in your household. You are in charge. And these things you can change. Get with the right team that's going to help you build up your portfolio the way it should be. Get with the team that's going to be honest with you, like I am. I got to shoot to you straight because I want you to succeed with this purchase. I want you to succeed when you're buying your investment properties. And this is going to make life a lot easier for you versus going through a stressful process. And so you see people in the reviews say, yeah, my transaction was terrible. A lot of times they have to do with their record. They have to do with their report that they submitted into the underwriter. Low credit scores, no money in their account. I mean, there's zero room for error. But when you have these things, you have room. And you get the benefit of doubt, to be honest. Doesn't matter if you black, white, Spanish, German, green, yellow. This is for everyone. All right. So credit, assets, budgeting. And I have a gentleman by the name of Willis. He has a podcast called Wealth is a Journey. Wealth is a journey. And this is what he discussed: budgeting, saving money, stocks, investments. He want to help you build these things up to make life a lot easier for you because wealth is a journey. And that's someone that you can go to. So I'm gonna put his link in this right below here underneath the show notes. But yeah, wealth is a journey, and that's going to help you get to that next level. So if you need help learning how to budget or having a spreadsheet that teaches you how to put all your bills in order and how you can control your money, not allowing money to control you or your liabilities to control you, that's where we need to go. So wealth is a journey. Willis, he's located here in Delaware. So like I said, I'm gonna put the link down here underneath the show notes. So yeah, let's go. Let's get with that. So credit, saving money, and budgeting. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is your debt ratios. A lot of people ask, how do we come up with the maximum loan amount? How do we come up with the per approval amount? A lot has to do with debt ratios. The debt ratio shows us how much you can afford, And what we do with that is we take your income, and I talk about this quite a bit, your income divided by your liabilities. Easy math. If you make $5,000 a year in income and all your liabilities, you pay out $2,500 a month. That means your debt ratios are at 50%, meaning that's pretty high. Another thing that you hear about a lot is affordability versus approvability. You can get it approved at a much higher debt ratio, but you're taking a higher risk when it comes to your finances. And if you're speaking to a financial advisor, I'm sure they're going to make sure your debt ratios are pretty low because they want to keep you, they want to keep the money that you make every single month in your account or in some type of investment, not you spending this money all on a mortgage or you paying out all your money on bills. You don't want that. All right. You don't want that. Well, they say house rich and cash poor. So you got a beautiful home, a big giant mortgage, but if anything happens in your situation, the chance of you're not making your mortgage payment is going to be extremely high. And it's up to us to make a decision on what we want to do with that. Do you want to be in that situation? Of course, you can always make more money. Higher the income, yeah, the better off you're going to be. But it's all about how do you control your liabilities, because you can make $20,000 a month, but if you have 15 grand in bills, it's like you don't make a lot of money really at all. You have zero room for error. So we always, and I say this all the time, your budget. We got to go off of your budget, how much we have in your budget. So even though you can afford a much higher mortgage payment, that doesn't mean that you should max out your mortgage payment just to get the house that you think that will appear to be a lot better for you and your family. You got to get something that you can actually afford. We say budget a lot to be nice, but a lot of times you cannot afford these high mortgage payments. So you want to stay away from them. Anyone that's doing really well at life, they're never going to max out the mortgage payment. They're not. A lot of times they'll call me, Gary, look, even with my mortgage, I want to make sure my debt ratios are not over 35%, because they already understand the importance of that. They don't want to just work just so they can pay the mortgage. You want to work and be able to just do some cool things in life, to travel, spend more time with your family, use that money to invest so you can have compound interest on the money that you invest in. Because if it's a primary residence, it's not an investment. I don't care what no one says. If you have a home that's your primary home, that's not an investment property. That's your primary home. An investment property is an investment property. That's different. That's not the same thing. And the same thing, even with investment properties, you want to make sure that number one, you're making money off of this. And at the same time, the money that you have that's coming as a cash flow, you being able to save that money, put that to the side so you can make enough purchase again. So you can continuously invest. We don't want to be cash poor because we look cool in front of our family. We look cool in front of our friends. It's nice having a larger home, but either A, you need to make more money, pay down your debt. And that's another thing. Just paying down your debt can help out your credit big time. So this is the foundation of everything that we do on the lending side. And I'm giving you the rules to the game. I know sometimes the truth may sting a little bit, but once you understand, you're like, wow, okay, now I get it. And it's going to make life a lot easier for you. So credit, building up your assets / budgeting and saving money. You don't want to come into these transactions with zero money. You don't. You're going to make it so much harder for you to be able to make the purchase. And you want to put that on the loan officer or the lender. It's not their fault. It's your fault. You have to save money, period. Save money. And you want to keep your debt ratios low. I gave you the formula for how it works. It's just your income divided by your liabilities. Or you hear debt to income ratios. It's all basically the same. It's slightly different, but it's basically the same thing. So these are the things that you want to look at. And if you take care of these items, you could almost qualify for any program that's out there, or you're gonna make life so much easier for you if you line these up. So working on your credit, not just shooting for high credit scores and doing all the quick tricks and stuff like that with buying trade lines. Yeah, we know exists. We see it. Work on your credit. Keep your credit scores as high as possible. You want to have a strong credit report, meaning that you want to have multiple trade lines on your credit report, not just one, or you just being on other people's accounts. And yes, one thing I can tell you, you can become an authorized user. That definitely helps, but you want to work on your own personal credit because you basically piggybacking off of someone else's credit. And depending on what lender that's looking at that, they can identify authorized user accounts. But do whatever it takes to build up the credit. Like I said, credit repair is not a bad thing, but that's just a temporary fix. Once you do the credit repair, understand credit utilization, understanding just how credit breaks down. You have to understand that. And I could do a video on that all by itself. I don't want to do that on this one. But if you understand credit, period, and it's unlimited amount of videos on YouTube about that, or just speak to someone that does credit education. I'm not a credit repair person. That's why I try not to touch on it too much. But it's not hard. Pay your bills on time, keep your credit utilization low, and maintain just a few trade lines, and you shouldn't have any issues. The other thing is saving money. You can, but you're going to make life a lot harder for you. Save money. There's nothing wrong with that. Save money so when you start this process, you have a lot of money yourself. And even outside of the transaction, you want money for furniture, you want to buy groceries, like so you still want to travel, you want to do other things, not just be locked into mortgage penitentiary. So you don't want that. You want to be able to still live life. So budget. And so you can control the transaction a lot more and not just leaving it up to the lender. The third thing is low debt ratios, controlling those debt ratios, understanding what it is, how important that is. And I'm telling you, you can purchase anything if you work out these three: car loans, personal loans, business loans, mortgages. The sky's the limit if you do these things the right way. So it's not just about mortgages. It's about across the board. Your financial freedom is what I'm after for you guys. I care about you and I want to be honest about what we're doing here. And so when we go through these other videos, these other podcasts, speaking to entrepreneurs and everyone that I have on here that's dealing with real estate, everything will make a lot more sense to you once you take care of these items. And for you to succeed in 2025, for you to kick some butt out there in 2025, don't care who the president is, you can thrive in any market if you do these things the right way. That's all I got for you. Let's go. 2025. This is what we're here for. If you have any questions about anything that I discussed today, please let me know. I want to have, a one-on-one with you. If you're ready to, make that real estate purchase, let's get that one-on-one going. And I can tell you exactly what needs to happen in order for you to make that real estate purchase. I'm with you. I'm on your team, but I got to be transparent with you. I got to teach you the rules to the game, and we're going to make it happen this year. All right. See ya.